Many people believe the more hard work, the more hustle you put towards something, the more results you're going to get in return. But more and more people are actually awakening to the underlying pattern of hustle and realizing that it can actually damage your mental health. It can actually damage your emotional life. And so in this episode, we're going to dive deep in terms of why this hard work and hustle may actually be damaging to you and how you can actually succeed in a way that offers more flow, more alignment, and more love. Let's dive in. Hello to you and welcome to another episode of the Awaken Your Business podcast. My name is Tyson Sharp. I want to welcome you here. And yes, we're dissecting everything to do with the underlying pattern of hustle and hard work. And I'm sure you know why. If you're building a business, if you're out setting goals, this is what we're predominantly taught. And we're taught to go hard work, hustle as much as you can, because that'll lead to more achievement. And therefore, the more you achieve, the better off you are. But more and more people are awakening to a different pattern and starting to notice that there's actually an underlying pattern underneath the hustle that can be damaging. It can be damaging to your mental health, your emotional health. It can actually be the very block that's stopping you achieving what you want to achieve. And let me ask you, have you ever put more effort into something and got similar results? Or have you ever put hard work and hustle into something and actually got less results? But I'm sure you can see a time in your life when you've actually put in less effort. You put in less time, you put in less hard work and hustle, but you're actually more in flow. You're actually feeling the moment. You're actually feeling like you're in your zone. What happened then? You actually get more results. You get more outcomes and you feel good doing it. The question is, why do we always rely on hard work and hustle? And that's what we're dissecting here. I'm going to go through three ways in which the hard work and hustle can actually be damaging to you. I'm going to offer two solutions so that you can get out of this pattern and into more alignment. Now, before I go into that, I want to leave a bit of a special note here because it is true. Sometimes the hard work, the hustle, putting more effort involved can actually be expansive for us. Right? Whenever we're learning in school, whenever we're growing up as kids, it's often important for our development to realize that we're not the victim in our life. And we actually take control of our direction, of our life. And therefore, when we evolve, when we move from this victim mentality into an achiever mentality, it can actually be very, very expansive, not only for us, but for our soul. Because we can realize that we are the creators of our life. Life's not happening to me. Life's happening from me. I'm actually moving forward. I'm actually starting to take direction of my life and realize that the results that I want can be achieved. So there is some expansion in that. There is something that is aligned there, depending on where you're at in your level of consciousness, depending on where you're at in your level of advancement in terms of finding out who and what you are. Because if you're on the couch right now, and you're just completely lost in your direction, and you're completely just a victim to life, personal development and getting off the couch and actually starting to move forward with your life, no matter how much hard work and hustle, it will feel expansive. It will feel like I'm evolving from this, right? So there is some states in which the hard work and hustle can be in your expansion. But from what I've found, if you're a business owner, especially if you've been in the game for a while, if you've been in for a couple of years and you've been in, or you've been in here for even a couple of decades, what I found is that many people are stuck in that achiever phase. They're stuck in the phase of hard work, hustle, get out there and make it happen. And you can see this in yourself if you've put in just as much effort, but you're getting the same results or you're getting even less results than you used to. That's how you know you're being called to more, and that's what we'll discuss next by discussing these three sort of signs in which hustle may be damaging to you. So the first way in which this striving, this hard work, this hustle may be damaging to you is resistance. Often when we're going throughout our life, our mind thinks what is best for us. And so we go forward and we start to advance in a career or a business or a venture or a relationship, whatever it may be. And you can feel the resistance in life. You can feel that life's saying, no, this isn't it. right? This is not your path. And therefore, if you keep consistently going after it, you feel this resistance with life, like, is this not meant to happen? Now, here's the key. If you have a river and the river is running, you can sit by that river and let it run, right? You can actually get a boat or a little bit of a kayak and go down the river and start to flow with it. What I find is that most people, when they follow their ego, they follow what things should or shouldn't happen, and they get some signals from life that says, this isn't actually your path. It's almost like jumping in the river and trying to get it to stop. You're just not one with nature. You're not one with the flow of life. I often know people who are getting in the river and trying to make it go backwards, trying to go upstream. And you can feel this resistance within yourself. Now, what happens when you feel this resistance in your life? You feel burnt out. You feel like, I'm putting in all this effort. I'm feeling at the end of the day, I go to bed and I feel exhausted, but there's not much to show for it. And better yet, you're going there and you're feeling like, this wasn't actually what I meant to be doing. Life is in resistance here. I'm in resistance to life. I'm not going with the flow, and there might be a different direction for me. So this is number one, figuring out, is there resistance in your life? Is there this thing that is pushing against you, saying, no, there's another way? The second way this hard work, hustle, this striving can be damaging is due to a lack of resourcefulness. I want you to ask yourself right now, how many resources do you have inside of you? How many internal resources do you have at your disposal in the form of love, in the form of joy, playfulness, creativity, flow, whatever it is? What is that for you? How many do you have inside you? It's endless. It is limitless in terms of what you can bring to the table. Now, what we're taught generally by watching our superheroes and all these TV shows growing up is that this hard work, this hustle, this breakthrough is a sign of success. And it's a sign that we are strong enough that we can go after our goals. And in fact, we deserve them. But let me ask you something. What will your life be like if you just rely on that one resource? If there's just this one side of you that's conditioned that says, hey, I've got this. All we need to do, work longer hours, put in more effort, put in this hard work. What is your life going to be like if you use that resource, if you use that side of you for every challenge in your life? Can you feel like how you may be a little bit one-dimensional? This is because life is generally expansive. Life is generally calling you to more. Life is calling you to say, hey, you've got some other resources. You've got some other options here. If you have a challenge in your life, if you're following your heart, if you're going out there and building a business, if you're going after a new relationship, if you're wanting to improve your health, you have so much resourcefulness inside you. Now, if the hard work hustle isn't leading to the results that you're after, how about you ask yourself, how do I bring more creativity? How do I bring more flow? How do I bring more love? How do I bring more playfulness and joy? And what you'll find is you'll start to feel expansive. You'll start to know that there are different ways in which you can get results. There are different ways in which you can improve the quality of your life by looking inside and asking yourself the question of, what resources can I bring to the table that's beyond hard work, that's beyond hustle, that's beyond this striving that says I need to achieve that in order to feel worthy inside? The third way this striving, hard work, hustle can be damaging is, of course, being blinded. How are you being blinded? What do I mean by that? When you're moving forward consistently with this hard work, and that's the number one option you have, and it's the only option you have, you may be blinded because you're only on one path. When you're on one path, you're not open to see what other opportunities there may be. What is the universe trying to show you? I ask you this. If this isn't the path for you, if you avoid this one directional way of looking at something and this one dimensional way of going after a challenge, what might be open when you ask yourself the question of, what is the universe trying to show me? What other options might the universe be welcoming into my life? And if you can sit down and ask yourself that question, you may be able to separate your ego a little bit, because you separate the fact from your ego saying, I know what the answer should be. I know what life needs to look like. I know the options here. I know which direction I should go. And instead you surrender and you start to take the blinders off and say, what else might be in my favor here? What else might be the universe trying to show me? What other options might be expansive for me? And when you do that, you can sit down and say, actually, I might have this option. I might have this resource. This is actually being welcomed into my life. And you can take the blinders off and see the whole picture and start to know that who and what you are is so much more expansive than just this journey and just this one way of looking at life. And you can start to open up and say, you know what? I'm actually multi-dimensional, and I can actually start welcoming other opportunities. I just need to sit back and surrender and welcome it in. On to the second part of this episode, and that is the two main solutions I have for you in order to add more flow, more alignment into your success. Now, what's number one here? I'm sure you can see if your hard work, your hustle, and you have this as a pattern in your life that is no longer receiving the results that you can expect, the number one thing you can do is to actually sit in silence. What do I mean here? You're probably looking at me like I'm crazy. Here's the thing. If that's a pattern, I'm sure you can see there are other sides of you that are ready to be conditioned, that are ready to be developed. Now, what's the opposite of the hard work and hustle? It's sitting in stillness. It's sitting in a space of quiet so you can quiet your mind. And what you can actually start to do is allow all the frustration of sitting in silence to be there. I did this for myself about 1.5 years ago. I had this belief and this story, this identity that said who I am is what I do. Therefore, I was hard work, hustle. I was building my business to feel enough. I was trying to get more money to feel safe. And I felt this push. This is like, you have to do this. If you don't, you're not going to be safe. You're not going to be loved. You're not going to be enough. So what I did was I sat in this chair that's next to me. I sat in this chair for 6 hours. And as I sat there, I truly just allowed all the emotions to be there. I sat in this chair and all these thoughts came up in terms of you're letting your clients down. You're not being responsible. If you don't do this, you're not going to feel enough. And I just let all of that be there. And this is what you might need to do as well. If you're feeling like this hard work hustle is one of your primary patterns, you need to do the opposite of that and start expanding a different side of you. So sitting in stillness, sitting in silence, for whatever time feels uncomfortable, for whatever time feels expansive, what time do you need to sit in silence that will feel scary for you? For some, that may be 5-10 minutes. For some might be an hour. For some might be 3 hours. I urge you, I challenge you, I welcome you to sit down in silence, sit down in stillness and just see what happens. When you just allow these emotions to be there, you allow all the feelings to come up. Because what I noticed in my journey, what I noticed after the 6 hours of meditation, I was crying with this big release. I started to welcome in a new option. I started to see who and what I am as a person. And as I started to see, I am so much more than what I can achieve. I'm so much more than what I can do. I'm so much more than anything that can happen to me. I had huge insights, huge awakening, and a huge level of presence as to where my heart is guiding me. And as I started following my heart's calling, I actually started achieving more by doing less. And I started achieving more in a way that was fun, in a way that was in flow, in a way that was aligned. And so I urge you, if you have the courage to sit in silence, if you have the courage to just be still, quiet the mind, sit down and listen to your heart and welcome in all of the fears that come up along the way, you will start to transcend those patterns. You will start to transcend the patterns that says, I need to hard work, I need to hustle in order to feel loved, in order to feel safe, in order to feel enough. And what you'll start to do is you'll start to feel more guidance. You'll start to feel more presence. You'll start to feel more love in the moment. And then when you follow your heart from that place, I'm sure you can see, you'll access more flow, more alignment, more peace, more love on this journey. And I'll mention, if you're curious about how I meditate, what the process is like, I actually shot a full video on this and walking you through the steps and what I do and what I expect from it, all those different things. I'll put a link down below so you can access that and you can watch it after this video. Onto the second solution now of how to add more alignment, more flow into your journey, and that is access your inner guidance. Access this inner wisdom, this inner guidance. When you sit in silence, when you sit in stillness and you process all of this emotion that comes up, you will get some guidance. You will get some insight. You can listen to your heart that says, What feels most exciting for me? You can ask yourself the question right now. Just breathe and ask yourself the question. If all options were equally as successful, if each path was equally as successful, what would be most exciting for me? What will I feel most called to do? What would feel more expansive? Which solution, which path, which direction would allow me to make the difference that I'm here to make in the world? Ask yourself this. Get still, get quiet. Internal guidance, internal wisdom, this internal direction is in you right now. Most people are struggling because their hard work, their hustle, they're going around what they should do and what they shouldn't do, and listening to other people and listening to this upbringing of this internal 5-year-old that says, I need to be this way and do this thing to feel enough and to feel safe. They're not actually listening into their heart. It's in your heart. It's in this deeper wisdom where you'll gain some guidance. You'll gain some insight. It'll say, go do this. It'll say, tell this person you love them. It'll say, go for this job. It'll say, build this business. It'll say, start this YouTube channel. And it will feel exciting. It will feel passionate. It will feel like a calling. You'll have some freak out moments because your mind needs to stay in safety. But the more you follow your heart's calling, the more you follow that guidance and take those leaps, you'll start to feel more flow, more aligned, and you'll start to actually feel like you're guided. And the reason being is because you'll be co-creating with the universe. You'll be listening to the signs within that says this is the actual path you're meant to be on. So you'll follow that expansive calling, you'll follow that leap, and you'll start to feel more and more confident in your ability to listen within instead of listening to everything that's outside of you. So what I urge you to do is ask yourself that question. If all options were equally as successful, what would I do? What would light me up? What would make me feel like I'm expanding? What would make me feel like I'm making a difference in the things I'm here to change and the difference I'm here to make on the planet? What would that be for you? So feel free to ask yourself that for the next minute or so. Breathe deep and go with that. One more thing I'll add here. When you actually start to listen in, you start to follow your heart, you become the example that many people want in their life. A lot of people, the vast majority of people in your life, your loved ones, your friends, people in your community, they're following what their mind thinks they should follow. They're following conditions and expectations and not actually listening in. That's where the hard work and hustle comes into it, because they think this is the path I'm meant to be on. When you actually listen in, you start following your guidance, they will look at you as the example of what's possible, of a new level of consciousness. When you're moving forward consistently with your life and you're moving forward consistently with ease, with flow, with alignment, they can start to see what's possible. You get to become that example. You get to become a new wave of superhero in a way that's not just this action all the time, but this one that's listening into more deeper access of wisdom. And what will happen is everyone else will start to ask you some questions around, what are you doing that's different? What are you doing that's different from everyone else? How are you so fulfilled and with such joy? And how are you achieving so much by doing so less? So I wanted to leave that with you, because you'll be a new wave of consciousness, a new wave of a superhero, and you will feel more aligned and you'll just feel amazing because you're inspiring others to do the same. So now it's time to share your truth. Which of these 3 most aligned with you? Have you noticed any in your life? And which of these 2 are you willing to do? Are you willing to sit in silence? Are you willing to listen to this internal calling? Let me know below. I look forward to reading it. I'll see you on the next episode. Take care, guys.